Tonight, wild weather batters the Spencer Gulf as gale-force winds and heavy rain is recorded across the region. And glamping at Jubilee, a major funding boost for the Silver City ahead of the Broken Hill Festival.
From our 7 Spencer Gulf studios, your nightly news with Madeline Kerr begins now.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. The State Emergency Service is advising Spencer Gulf residents to prepare for a week of severe winter weather. Potential damaging winds and heavy rain is forecast for the next 5 days, with the impact already being felt in some parts.
Severe weather warnings issued for this week. Port Pirie SES handing out sandbags, preparing for the worst.
We've seen some quite intense winds come across the region, including the Eyre Peninsula, York Peninsula, mid-north. We've seen winds up to about the 60 km/h mark.
According to the Bureau of Meteorology, winds gusts peaked at 82 km/h in Port Pirie at 6 o'clock last night. The gale force winds recorded again an hour and a half later at 7:30. Intense winds leading to community call-outs.
We do tend to see a lot of severe weather jobs and tree down, so over the past day or so we've had a number of taskings where our crews have been out.
With weather warnings expected to last throughout the week, it is important residents take precautions to avoid potential disasters.
Make sure they secure their loose items around the house and don't stand under any trees or park under any trees during these severe wind events.
It wasn't just Port Pirie feeling the effects of the wild weather. Port Lincoln recorded around 5.5 millimetres in just 11 minutes, ending the night with 18.6 millimetres in the gauge. With rain forecast for parts of the Spencer Gulf for the remainder of the week, it's important to drive to the conditions, as roads do tend to get slippery and winds can throw debris across the road. Another front is expected later tonight, resulting in more heavy rain and winds. If you do require assistance, you can contact SES on 132 500. Annabelle Francis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Accommodation for the Broken Hill Festival shouldn't be a problem, with the Palace Hotel securing funding through the Regional Events Acceleration Fund. The money will help support pop-up accommodation options to help cater for the influx of visitors.
The funds could not have come at a better time. Hotels are booked out, Airbnbs are scarce, friends' couches are being snapped up. The upcoming Monday Bash and Broken Hill Festival selling the city's accommodation out.
Great to be here in Broken Hill to announce more support for the Broken Hill Festival, this time out of the Regional Events Activation Fund, where we're kicking in about $110,000 to help with the glamping sites they're setting up down at Jubilee Oval.
The pop-up accommodation will bring glamping into the Silver City. And don't worry, football fans, the AFL Grand Final is the week before the festival.
I popped down to Jubilee Oval down there yesterday and it's a fantastic facility, and to be able to use that for this event I think is a great asset to Broken Hill.
The accommodation shortage is a result of multiple events around the city happening around the same time, not to mention the regular visitors during tourist season. The announcement was a welcomed one.
I came out here for Monday and there wasn't a spot on the side of the road not filled up with a caravan. That included all the roadhouses and pubs and shops between here and Sydney or here in Adelaide.
The iconic festival returns after 3 years due to the pandemic, and it will be an economic boost for not only the city but the surrounding towns as well.
You know, this pub itself is a cultural icon, so to be able to get people back into the community is so essential to keep things ticking over. All our businesses, all our shops, not just in Broken Hill, but on all the roads leading in here as well.
Monday Bash kicks off on the 18th of August and runs until the 20th, while the Broken Hill Festival runs over 3 days in September. Joshua Mercer, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
After a 3-year hiatus, go-kart racing has made its long-awaited return to Port Lincoln. Now, up-and-coming drivers will finally be able to put the pedal to the metal with the reopening of the track.
It's lights out and away we go. Go-karting in Port Lincoln is back and it's not slowing down anytime soon. with the first kart taking to the track in almost 3 years.
It's happening again, and get interest back in it. And there's a whole generation of kids that have missed out in karting for the last few years. So It's really good to see their smiles when they come off the track.
Just when the go-kart committee was gaining traction, the summer 2019-20 bushfires destroyed the track. But it didn't dampen the spirits of motorsport's youngest up-and-comers.
Very good. It's very fun. It's certainly because we've been trying to get this go-kart track up and running for 3 years, and we finally got it.
The state government also coming to the table, contributing $10,000 for track repairs.
We've just been relying on volunteers. We managed to get a bushfire grant from the state government, which has helped out. That's redo the boundary fences and buy tech screws and all that sort of stuff for the tyres.
The club held a demonstration day on Sunday, seeing over 150 people in attendance. Now they are looking for more people to jump into the driver's seat.
This is an introduction to motorsport, supercars, F1, so this is the ground roots. Excellent for learning to drive a car.
For Jet and Riley, go-karting is only the beginning, with aspirations to drive even bigger engines.
I'd like to go either rallying or maybe touring cars and V8 supercars.
I'd like to go F1 or V8 supercars.
The club has plans to resurface the track and add more fencing, but they will need the support of the community. To become a member, you can register online through the club's Facebook page. The track is aiming to be open every weekend.
Kids come off the track with, soaking wet, freezing cold, could hardly move, with the biggest smile on their face and couldn't stop talking. That's worth it.
Henry Millick, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Still to come tonight, the Spencer Golf organisations digging deep and giving back this National Homelessness Week. And Uniting Country SA warns of the potential risks of the growing number of people relying on buy now, pay later services. Welcome back to 7 Spencer Golf News. A number of organisations are rallying together to support those doing it rough this National Homelessness Week. From walking a mile to collecting food and clothing items, the Country North Homeless Alliance is raising awareness and is asking the community to get involved.
For some, a place to call home is a luxury. This National Homelessness Week, organisations across the region are looking to raise awareness and funds for those sleeping rough.
It's Homelessness Week and there's a lot going on. We've got the Share on Air campaign, which finishes up this Friday. Magic 899 have been a great support with bins around the Eyre Peninsula.
Members from the Country North Homelessness Alliance will also be lacing up their hiking shoes in an attempt to walk 914 kilometres this August.
A walk a country mile, and so that is a event that's being sponsored by all agencies within the Alliance, where we've got frontline staff members walking the distance from Carina to Sedunas.
The Share on Air campaign reaching its target of 40 bins, and it's all thanks to community donations.
We've had some great support from the community. People have been coming into our office to give donations as we've had a bin here. We've had some generous donations, monetary donations as well. So it's just been great to see the community come together.
It's estimated the salvos assisted over 95,000 people experiencing homelessness last year. Now, with inflation and the cost of living continuing to rise, homelessness could worsen.
Working people that are also finding it just as hard to access rentals. So I think that's really important for people to understand that homelessness can happen to anybody.
But it's not too late to lend a helping hand. To support the initiative, you can donate to the Raising Funds for Homeless in Country SA GoFundMe page. Henry Millick, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Money can often be a taboo topic, but that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. United Country SA has over 15 years' experience in a range of topics, from everyday debts to the latest fad of buy now, pay later.
Normalising asking for help.
Really, really difficult thing for someone to walk through the door and ask for help, particularly around finances. So really it's about sitting and listening and letting them tell their story.
United Country SA has dedicated and professional staff who are passionate about helping community members free themselves from financial burdens.
To be a financial counsellor, you actually have to hold a diploma of financial counselling, and for the service to operate a financial counselling service, it's important that all financial counsellors have this diploma.
Hot topics at the moment include the cost of living, utilities, debts in general, and the latest trend known as buy now, pay later.
It's a bit like a modern day lay-by, except that you get to walk out of the shop with the goods and then pay later.
Although it may sound like a win-win situation, it can quickly turn into an expensive and addictive habit, full of hidden costs.
That they are not regulated under credit laws as credit cards, etc. are, which is something that financial counsellors have been advocating for.
United Country encourage anyone struggling with financial stress to get in touch, saying no problem is too little or too big. Annabelle Francis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. Staying connected. Wi-Fi nodes added to locations around Whyalla. We'll tell you where in just a moment. And South Australian golfers in Port Augusta to tee off at the 47th Golf Classic. Welcome back to 7 Spencer Golf News. New Wi-Fi nodes are being installed along Whyalla's northern coastline. The first of 3 Wi-Fi node bench seats and charging stations has been installed at the Point Lowly Cuttlefish dive site. The solar-powered device will add to the free Wi-Fi coverage already accessible at the local campground. The 2 remaining nodes will be installed along the coastline this week at Fitzgerald Bay and Douglas Point. Golfers from across the state have flocked to Port Augusta this week for the city's annual Golf Classic. While the rain and strong winds put a dampener on day 1 of the event, today's sunshine made for perfect playing conditions to tee off.
As every golfer knows, practice makes perfect. That's why Port Augusta's Golf Classic, now in its 47th year, is always a smash hit.
I haven't seen the course actually this good, or the greens this good since I've been coming in 6 years, so I think it's going to be great. It should be some good scores.
The 5-day tournament has seen keen country golfers descend upon the city to try their luck on the links. Golfers travelling from as far as Mount Gambier and Strathalbyn with fond memories at the Port Augusta course.
Over the 5 days, we'll be having around 850 rounds of golf played. A lot of visitors from all over South Australia.
Yeah, we got 8 newbies, I think, this year, and they're all loving it. And we're going to have more come next year.
The club says due to the amount of wet weather earlier this year, the grass is looking the greenest it has in a long time.
The club has done an unreal job, and yeah, I just love coming back here every year.
They really put it on every year. It's just a good course, and the atmosphere here, their atmosphere is unreal. They really include you.
Today, over 140 visiting golfers are expected to tee off, representing 45 different golf clubs from across South Australia.
With all the visitors here, probably staying 5-6 days, I know from the stats I keep that the business community in Port Augusta would probably receive in excess of $250,000.
Once again, the club is offering up a free car to motivate players. The brand new Ford Puma will be gifted to the golfer who can hit a hole-in-one on number 10. Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. We'll bring you this week's Fuel Watch segment. Are the arrows pointing up or down? And we'll have the very latest from the Bureau of Meteorology with Alex Sykes. Welcome back to 7 Spencer Golf News. It's good news at the petrol pumps for Spencer Golf commuters as prices across the region have dropped again this week. It's a welcome relief for motorists as we head into the back end of the year. Our reporter Joshua Mercer has this week's Fuel Watch.
Motorists can breathe a sigh of relief as petrol prices are still going down, with some Spencer Gulf cities able to purchase fuel for under $2 a litre. Starting off with unleaded, and it's nothing but green arrows across the board. with a number of noticeable drops at the pumps. Those living in Kadina will have more money to spend on groceries this week, as they are only paying $1.79. Port Pirie saw one of the biggest drops in price by 12 cents a litre. There is some relief for residents here in Broken Hill. Unfortunately, petrol is still over $2 though. The cheapest petrol once again is in Adelaide. Moving on to diesel now, and we have a majority of green arrows showing. Kadina once again has the honour of having the cheapest, as diesel is averaging around $2.06. Port Lincoln is next in the regional setting, sitting at $2.11. Only 0.4 of a cent separates the price of diesel in Whyalla and Port Pirie. And even though it saw the biggest drop in the area, people across the border are still paying more for diesel, with Broken Hill charging $2.21 a litre. The City of Churches is the only place with the red arrow this week, but it's still cheaper compared to the rest of the region. Finally, we look at autogas prices, and it pays to have a car that runs on LPG, as prices do stay steady. Port Lincoln was the only mover from last week. The price of gas is $1.29. Broken Hill finally gets the chance to have the cheapest price, as autogas is still sitting steady at $1.10. The next lowest on the list is Port Pirie. Those living in the City of Opportunities are currently paying $1.12 overall. But the reigning champion is once again the South Australian capital city, as Metro residents are only paying 95.4 cents. Be sure to tune in to Spencer Golf's Fuel Watch next week to see if you can get more bang for your buck at the petrol bowsers.
Time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather with Alex Sykes. Alex, severe weather warnings are still in place.
Good evening, Maddie. Yes, that's right. A gale force warning is current for the Spencer Gulf for the rest of the evening and into tomorrow. As we heard earlier in our bulletin, there's been plenty of rain and wind around, with SDS crews cautiously prepared if it gets worse. Taking a look at how today fared, Port Augusta was spared from the brunt of the rain. Near perfect conditions for the Gulf Classic. 0.2 of a millimetre fell around 1:30 and the temperature was a warm 26 degrees by mid-afternoon. Elsewhere, gale force winds in the Eyre Peninsula. Port Lincoln reached 19 degrees today after last night's downpour. Port Pirie reached a touch over 22 degrees. Looking at our map now, and it's too small to see, but Neptune Island, around 60 k's off the coast of Port Lincoln, recorded gusts of up to 104 kilometres an hour this afternoon. Broken Hill reached 26 degrees. It was even warmer in Cooper Pedy with a top of 28. Taking a look at the satellite image now, there's a broad, deep and complex low pressure system over waters to the south of Australia, moving slowly eastwards. A series of vigorous cold fronts associated with the low will extend over South Australia, which is what's causing all the wind. A high pressure system will move across from the west later in the weekend. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. Northwesterly winds 15 to 35 knots, seas between 1 and 3 metres. West to southwesterly swell up to 1.5 metres. Showers and windy in Port Lincoln, 15 degrees on Thursday. Showers increasing in Cleve, set to reach a top of 16 degrees there. Wet and windy in Woodna, 17. Partly cloudy and 20 degrees in Whyalla, mostly sunny in Port Augusta, becoming windy between 11 and 21 degrees there. 17 in Kadina with showers increasing. Between 10 and 20 in Port Pirie tomorrow, showers are tipped to increase. Same conditions in Clare, but cooler, 15 degrees there. Up to 5 millimetres of rain on the way for Broken Hill. Winds up to 50 kilometres an hour, a top of 22 degrees there. Taking a look further through the week now, and while we don't know the full extent of what's to come, it will be rainy in most parts on Friday, 18 in Broken Hill and Whyalla, 15 in Port Lincoln and Kadina. The chance of a thunderstorm in Port Lincoln on Saturday, 15 degrees. Similar condition in Whyalla, a thunderstorm is possible, 17 degrees. And finally, things are set to calm down a bit on Sunday. Port Pirie and Port Lincoln will still have some rain, 15 and 16 degrees, partly cloudy in Whyalla, Woodna and Port Augusta. So Maddie, do be mindful of the changing weather conditions and stay up to date by visiting the Bureau's website. And most importantly, stay safe. It's back to you.
Stay safe indeed. Thanks so much for that, Alex. And that's the local news this Wednesday. I'm Madeline Kerr. From all of us here, thanks for joining us. Enjoy your evening and I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.